Today, we're diving into Andre Dubus III's incredible novel, House of Sand and Fog. It all kicks off with something so simple, so mundane, a clerical error by the county. But that one little mistake, well, it spirals into this devastating conflict with no easy answers, raising some huge questions about ownership, justice, and the American dream.
So, this is really the central question of the entire story. What happens? It puts two very different people on an unavoidable collision course, and both of them are absolutely convinced they are in the right. Their fight forces us, the readers, to ask some really tough questions.
At the heart of it all is this one single house. A pretty unremarkable little bungalow on Bisgrove Street, but this small house becomes the battleground, the absolute epicenter where two desperate lives are about to collide, and the consequences, they're going to be tragic. All right, so let's meet the two people at the center of this storm. On one side, you've got Kathy Nicolo. She's a recovering addict, and this house she inherited is, well, it's everything to her. It's her last real connection to her family, a symbol of her very fragile stability, and it's wrongly taken from her for a tax she didn't even owe. And then you have Colonel Masoud Behrani. He's an exiled Iranian officer who legally, by the book, buys the house at auction. For him, this isn't just a piece of property, it's a golden ticket, a chance to rebuild his family's honor and their future.
And this right here, this is where things get really complicated. I mean, legally, the house belongs to Behrani. He paid cash for it, fair and square. But morally, what about Kathy? She's the victim of a huge government mistake. Does she have the greater claim? The book does not give us an easy answer, not at all.
To really get what's going on here, we have to look way beyond the legal paperwork. Their histories, their fears, their biggest dreams. It's all tangled up in the fate of this one small house. For Kathy, the stakes are as high as they get. We're talking about her survival.
Wow, I mean, this quote from Kathy, it just tells you everything, doesn't it? It shows you just how precarious her grip on life is, even before she loses the house. She's fighting addiction, she's fighting this crushing depression. This single line shows us that for her, the fight for this house isn't about real estate. It's a desperate fight to stay alive. So for Kathy, this house is literally everything. It is so much more than just wood and nails. It's her history, it's a monument to her sobriety, it's the only anchor she has left in a world where she feels totally adrift. If she loses the house, she feels like she's losing the very last piece of herself.
Okay, now let's flip over to Colonel Behrani. This quote about him buying a simple hat is just so revealing. This was a man of incredible stature back in Iran. Now, in America, he's working menial jobs day in and day out just to keep up the appearance of dignity. He's not just trying to survive, he is desperately trying to hold on to who he was. From Behrani's perspective, this house is the key. It's the key to restoring his family's honor. It's a financial foothold that he believes will let him reclaim the respect and the life he lost when he fled Iran. He played by the rules of his new country, and he firmly, deeply believes he is entitled to the rewards of that. So just when you think this is a straightforward, two-sided conflict, a third person walks onto the stage and basically pours gasoline all over the fire. And that person is Deputy Lester Burden. He gets involved with Kathy, and his intervention changes absolutely everything. And that's really the million-dollar question about Lester, isn't it? In his own mind, he's Kathy's protector, this knight in shining armor. But his reasons for helping are all tangled up in his own unhappy life, making him a dangerously unpredictable wild card. Lester is a man teetering right on the edge. He's miserable in his marriage, miserable in his job. He meets the vulnerable Kathy and sees a chance to finally be a hero. But here's the kicker. He has a history of bending the rules, and his instant hostility toward Behrani has nothing to do with justice and everything to do with his own prejudice. And with Lester now in the mix, what started as a fight for what's right begins to curdle. It stops being about justice and starts becoming a personal, bitter vendetta. And things spiral out of control so fast. First, the system, the bureaucracy, it fails everybody. Then, Lester starts abusing his power as a cop to intimidate Behrani. Soon, threats escalate into an actual siege at the house. And then, in this incredibly powerful moment, Behrani puts on his old military uniform. He's no longer just a homeowner, he's a soldier defending his territory. At that point, any hope for a peaceful resolution is just gone. But you know, this deeply personal tragedy, it doesn't happen in a vacuum.
It's really a reflection of a much larger, much more fractured story about the American dream itself. This table really lays out the cultural collision that's at the heart of the whole story. You've got the downwardly mobile American, Kathy, crashing into the upwardly mobile immigrant, Behrani. And this clash is fueled by racism, by prejudice, and just a profound, tragic misunderstanding on both sides. Behrani's view of Americans as undisciplined and entitled directly shapes everything he does. He sees Kathy and Lester's actions as absolute proof of this worldview, which just reinforces his decision not to back down an inch. In his mind, he's the adult in the room, standing firm against what he sees as childish tantrums.
In the end, this book doesn't really give us a hero or a villain. What it does give us is this powerful, heartbreaking look at how pride, prejudice, and a series of awful choices can lead to a place that nobody wanted to be.
And the final result is just devastating. It is a tragedy in the truest sense of the word, because it feels so completely, horribly avoidable. You can't help but think that one single moment of compromise, one moment of real empathy from any of them, might have changed the entire outcome. The novel actually opens with this quote from Octavio Paz, and it perfectly captures this deep sense of alienation that just haunts all three of our main characters. Kathy, Behrani, and Lester, they are all profoundly lost. They're all searching for a place to belong, for a version of themselves they can finally arrive at. In the end, the story just leaves us with the wreckage. It forces us to look at the tragic cost of misunderstanding and the immense difficulty of finding a fair solution when you have two legitimate claims that are in total opposition. And it kind of just leaves you wondering, what would a just ending to this story even look like?